It's been a week since a powerful winter storm slammed Mississippi, but tonight hundreds of families in Holmes County are still in the dark. Now 3 on Your Side's Teddy Reedy says crews are racing to restore power.
Holmes County is one of the remaining counties that's still without power after the ice storm. Those living in Lexington and surrounding towns have been braving the elements since the storm struck. It's been a week since the winter storm swept through Mississippi, yet tonight more than 400 people in Holmes County are still without power. Entergy crews were back in the area Saturday, working to restore service. But for many families in Lexington, no power and no water means growing frustration as they wait for relief.
Rough. I'm still without power. It's been a whole week. I keep reporting the outage, and no one came by yet, so I guess hopefully they're working on it.
Holmes County was under a level 4 winter threat with temperatures dropping below 10 degrees and highs staying under freezing. Now this weekend, similar cold is expected, while some residents are still without power. To track outages in your area and see the latest restoration timelines, you can visit Entergy Mississippi's website. Power companies are still racing to get your power back on in Holmes County. From Lexington, Teddy Reedy, 3 on Your Side.